Hey, what's up? It's your boy Paul Brentley. We're gonna get into the Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 3, episode 11. They continued in Seattle, in San Antonio. Yeah, San Antonio. Still on the girls trip. Um, we got Angie K, Lisa, and Whitney outside at the pool. Talking about what happened. Yes, the day before. Talking about what happened. The day before and that what happened at dinner that night before. Lisa saying that she's tired of how Jen acts and everything, and that she was wrong for pushing her and all this stuff. They all three making, they said she was wrong and everything. Jen's situation. This is when Whitney brings up her situation, supposedly situation that she has with Heather, saying that she understands what they're going through because Heather, she don't think Heather knows how she feel, or Heather always acting like she don't know what we fighting for, and it's like, what fight? Y'all ain't fighting. I said, Heather, all Heather told you to get out of her house, and she didn't push you. She just moved your body to the door. Because a push is a real push would have been she pushed you, but she didn't. So they sitting outside talking still about the situation, and Whitney complaining about, Heather don't hear her, and she don't know where their friendship gonna go, and all this crap. Um so they ended up leaving the pool, going inside. We got Lisa in the kitchen, Lisa asking Heather how she feel about last night. Heather said, she just feel like what went on last night. She didn't understand it. She said, who really my friend? Like, yeah, who really is your friend? So her and Lisa ended up talking about the situation and what happened with last night at dinner with her and Jen and stuff. And they talked about that. And then Heather also talked about the relationship issues that she having with Whitney and stuff, and that she does feel like, she said on this trip she haven't had spent no time with Whitney or anything, and she feels the emptiness that's there. And she said if she um in so many words, she said if she says how she say how she feeling whatever, then none of y'all would really be friends with her. She ain't There would be no friendship, mostly. She said that to Lisa, and I'm like, no, there would be friendships. There would be boundaries, because if you say how you truly feel, Heather, you would be more at ease in everything, because you do kind of, well, they all do it. They all do the same thing Heather do. Heather kind of brushes off and act like it didn't happen, or just act like she's past it and keep moving. And a lot of them do it, but they do it behind each other back until somebody end up bringing it up, and then they want to talk it to the person that they need to say it to. So still talking about that. Lisa also asked her, so what do you want to do about your friendships and stuff? And she said she would like to take Jen aside and actually talk to Jen about what happened last night and see if they can work through it. And Lisa agreed with it. So we got Jen going over to Angie K room, and her and Angie K end up talking. She ended up apologizing to Angie K again about how she acted and everything. Ended up Angie K ended up, accepting the apology and stuff, and said, we can start over. We can do a restart and stuff. And Jen was like, okay. So they both agree on that. So they end up all going to the beach. It was beach day. They end up playing. They are having teams for sandcastle building. They did potato sack race, and they did some other game where they had to put the ball on and hit each other. Yeah. Uh, Whitney cheated in the sandcastle race, but it was Whitney team that ended up winning, even though they cheated. After that, the ladies ended up just chilling at the beach for the time being. Heather and Angie end up talking about, because Heather asked, like, you and it seemed like you and Jen are back on good page, back on good terms and stuff. And Angie told her, she came to my room, we talked about it, and she apologized, and so we're doing good. And so half of the ladies went surfing, and then Lisa, Heather, and Jen ended up going to lunch. So when they was at lunch, this is where stuff go down. Lisa brings up, they start talking to Jen about what Jen, how Jen, about things that happened the night before at dinner, how Jen treated them. Lisa went into, uh, yeah, Lisa went into explain, about everything that happened, how Jen made her feel, and how Jen pushed her and everything on the boat, and said that she's not her friend, and tell her you're not her friend. And when I asked you if you were my friend, you didn't answer. So Jen ended up apologizing to her. Jen apologized. Jen said, it was because you were, it was because of how it was because I was mad at Angie with a K, and because you were comforting her and everything else. That's why I was mad, and that's why I did what I did yesterday. So I apologize. And when Jen apologized, this is what I don't like about Lisa, is Lisa starts to do this repeating. Once Jen apologized to her about her action, she told her why she did what she did. She went back into reiterating the same thing she just told her a minute ago about the situation. This is what you did to me, and went back to, like, you pushed me. You this. She went back and said it one more time, and Jen apologized once again. Like, I'm sorry. She apologized again. So Heather ended up asking. So Heather got down to it. Heather asked her, like, um, I want to talk to you about everything that happened last night and stuff with us. But do you think that our relationship is toxic? And Jen want, yes, it is toxic. Um, it is toxic. Jen also says, like, told her why it's toxic. She said it's toxic because of the Angie H and her husband, what they did, and you actually, it's what Angie did, and you were okay. You was not okay with, said you was not okay with what went down at my house. And then Heather one, like, do you understand? You understand why I wasn't okay with that? And she asked it again. And this is when Jen said, I feel like you flip flop all the time. And Heather was like, how is that? Jen said, you still friends with her and her husband. You still friends with her, and didn't hold Angie H accountable for her actions, for what her and her husband did to me and my family. And um Heather ended up saying, she said we were good after I left your house. From after that went down, we had that discussion. She went, and I explained to you then how I felt and where I was coming from, and you was okay with it. But after you seen Angie at the at my audition, it was a whole different thing. So she went, I explained 100% how I felt and where I stand at on that. And Jen White, Okay, hold up. Explain where she stand, and then Heather also said, how you think I. She said, and she also said how you think I feel about what you said about me and stuff. Cause Heather did this, told that, then switched over and said how she was feeling, how she felt about what what Jen said about her, recently in the hot tub and all that stuff at Whitney House and stuff, and Jen acting like, when did I do? I didn't do that. It is like that's the point. It's like Jen do have selective amnesia when it comes to some stuff. When she knows she's caught up in something, she act like it didn't happen. But then I said she act like it didn't happen, but they end up showing a clip of the scene where she was talking about Heather and stuff and all the stuff she said about Heather. Cause she went on for a good, was it 30, 45 minutes on Heather in the hot tub at Whitney House. So Heather was like, I'm your right. Heather went, I have been a ride or die for you. Oh no, Heather went like, it's either. She said, I ride or die. She said, yeah. She said, I ride or die for you. I ride or die for you. Um. Okay. So Heather was like, I ride or die for you, and they started arguing. And Heather went, you need to figure it out. I'm like, what? Because Heather, at this point, Heather was fed up because the conversation, they were going back and forth. The conversation was getting very heated because Heather was tired of Jen telling lies. And she told her, you needed to figure it out. And Heather said, and Jen went, you need to do it. She went, you need to figure it out. And then Jen was like, Jen and I'm saying, Jen and then doing that when they were arguing, Jen gonna blurt out she almost committed. She almost took her life. Because of the Angie Harrington, Angie H, and her husband make really Angie husband making that fake account on social media and her seeing it when she saw it for the first time, it made her want to commit made her want to take her life, and Coach Shaw had to break down the door to get into the bathroom and rush her to the hospital. So she ended up crying and saying all this stuff, and it made them. They was like, okay, okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Heather went okay, and so they ended up leaving. She said, like, if I Shane, what if I died, then y'all gonna want to say nice things about me, and I'm like, okay. I said that's not something to take your life for over a Shaw account online because there's a lot of people with their last name, and you just made your family worry more than they already have. So they ended up ending lunch and going back. The ladies ended up oh yeah, when they went to the car after they from leaving lunch, it was the driver look for me. The driver was like, "Oh my god." The driver shook her head like they a lot. I would love to know what that driver had to say about them people. So they all go back to the house. Yeah, they all end up going back to the house. On the ride there, Heather wait a minute, Whitney now was in a car, and Whitney said she's saying she hurt by Heather. Heather hurt her and all this stuff, and I'm like, girl, how she hurt you? But we gonna get to that because it's real interesting because it's like I'm gonna get to it. She said they Heather hurt her. and stuff. She heard about Heather. So they all get to the house. They all get ready for dinner. Whitney is hosting the dinner. They had to dress up as Marilyn Monroe and stuff for dinner. They all looked nice. Jen Shaw looked like Marilyn Monroe when she was trying to dye that hair for the first time, and that's what the results was. That's what Jen looked like doing that. Cause that blonde wig was terrible. But other than that, they all the ladies was nice and everything. So they go to lunch. They go to dinner. Uh, at dinner, they started. They asked, the ladies that didn't go, the ladies that went surfing, and the ladies that went to lunch. Somebody asked, what happened with the surfing and stuff, and they told about that. Meredith didn't go surfing. Meredith surfed on her phone, but then they asked, how was lunch? And this is when Heather was like, what they asked how was lunch, what happened, and whatever. Heather gave a simple, it's like we talked about. It's like our relationship. It's an up and down relationship that we have, and you know that's what it was. We talked about our relationship. It's the up and down relationship that we have. We just talked about it. That's all that we did. Heather gave a simple that. But Whitney was asking like, so did y'all clear things up? Was it a good talk? What happened? What? And this is, I think that's what pissed Jen off. So Jen said since you want to know so bad and you that nosy, we talked about was I try to take my life. Talked about me trying to take my life, and my husband had to rush me to the hospital. That's what we talked about. Is you happy now? it Whitney face like, huh? Whitney was annoyed after this and stuff. She was annoyed after that. So this is when Jen ended up bringing up. Jen said, "So I want to know since it's about that I was saying certain things about her, about Heather, like what's what's really going on." And that's when Whitney said no. Whitney said wanted you to talk to her. We wanted you to talk to her about what you said in the hot tub to her. And that's when Jen said, so then Jen said, oh, okay, so why don't you tell Heather about what you said about her? And it was the fact, it's like Whitney facing, huh? Whitney wasn't expecting that. So when that happened, Heather was like, yeah, I want to know what's been going on because right, I see that you can talk to everybody else about since I'm hearing from everybody else that there's still unfinished feelings and conversation that need to be had. And Whitney like, I didn't talk to her about this before. We didn't did this already. And Jen, why you didn't do it? We can do it again. Jen said you could do it in front of us because we want to hear. I went, oh damn, these bitches. I went, Jen is on the roll. So you got Jed and Heather, they tag teaming. Cause Lisa was like, I see what's going on here. This is deja vu. Cause when Jen and Heather don't like like the story or what's going on, they gonna change the narrative to their way. But first of all, Lisa, you do exactly the same thing that they are doing right now, and you've been doing it for the last 3 years, and they've been doing it for y'all all been doing the same shit for the last 3 years, and they on that ass called Whitney Rose. And so they asked her. So okay. Okay, hold up. How did her feel? Lisa. Okay. So they continue. Lisa was like, Lisa ended up butting in. Lisa said, Heather, you already know how she feel and everything. And Heather was like, so why she keep bringing it up to y'all? Heather was, so why she keep bringing up stuff to y'all and not telling me how she feel? Cause she went, I'm confused here. I'm confused on this whole situation. Like, she going around talking shit and saying she got an issue with me, but she's not coming to me and telling me the issue. And I'm like, to be honest, I have not seen Whitney comes to. Well, she came to her one time. That I say after that, they first girls trip, she came to her and she did try to talk to her, but then she switched it. It's like you talked about how you feel, but you switched it and started defending Lisa. So what's the real issue? And every time that I say every time you had try to bring it up, but it was about the conversation of her putting you out her house. But yeah, you saying you had multiple times talked to her about it. All right. So yeah. So after that, we got and so we got Whitney. Whitney also uh Whitney didn't say I have, but you don't. She said I have tried to tell you, but you don't listen to me. And Heather went, okay, so no resolve. Heather went, no resolve. Whitney said, you always dismissing me, always leaving. And Heather went, tell me, tell me. Heather like tell me you are Heather like tell me you are always in the middle of something. You are always in the middle of a lot of the problems that we have. And Whitney ended up saying that because she ain't know because you pulled me into it. Personally, Heather don't pull you into anything. Whitney, you pull yourself into everything. It's not. I say I have seen Heather try to stop you from involving yourself into stuff that doesn't involve it concerns you, but you involve yourself anyway. But you gonna blame her as the person that made you do that? Make it make sense, Whitney. Cause now you just sitting here lying and making up stuff off the top of your dome as you go. So they continue. They continue. Whitney says, last night you tried to pull me into you to put me into what you and Jen was going through while y'all was trying, while y'all was at almost at a almost at the point of resolving it. And this is where Jen said that did not happen. Jen, wait, that ain't happen. What you talking about? Jen, wait, you're mistaken. None of that happened. That didn't happen at all. So what are you talking about? Uh, that's not true. So Jen ended up. So Jen ended up bringing up. So they going there. So Jen ended up butting in. Jen said, "So why did you say y'all was taking a break, friendship break?" And Heather like, huh? So we taking a friendship break? Right, this is the first time I heard we taking a friendship break. And Jen like, oh, you didn't know? You didn't know, girl? You didn't know? Oh, I thought you knew. I thought she told you that y'all was taking a break. That's what she said, that y'all was taking a break when we was in the hot tub. She said y'all taking a friendship break. I'm like, damn, Jen. Jen just like, I was Jen. Jen went in on her like, ain't no. I'm like, bitch, why did you doing this to this girl? Jen, why is you doing this to her? You don't really like Whitney Rose. It's like you peaked her game and her bullshit. So you gonna get in that ass at this dinner. uh so uh so Whitney was so it was Heather. Heather was like Whitney Rose had talked about. She said, Whitney Rose, you didn't talk a lot of shit about Lisa. You didn't talk a lot of shit about Lisa. And I said it started getting bad after that. So Whitney kept trying to talk, and Heather was just cutting her off. Heather was just cutting her off left and right. And then Whitney got mad to the point where she got up and she walked out. And then Lisa tried to jump in and diffuse the stuff, but Heather was like, Heather, when she didn't talk more shit about you, like Whitney Rosen talked a lot of shit about you. And Lisa White, that was in the past. That was last year. No. I said, if you paid attention, Lisa, she's saying this woman just got finished talking shit about you before she became your so-called friend this season. She just got finished talking shit about you. Now that y'all on good terms, now it's like, oh my God. Now she turning on her own cousin. But I end up finding out that Whitney ended up saying in the confession that she's mad that Heather don't have her back the way she has Jen back. She ride it down for Jen. She went, I want her to do the same. I'm her blood. I'm her cousin. Girl, but you don't show the same to her. Cause you telling Lisa all y'all damn business that you and whatever you and Heather done talked about, you done told this woman everything that y'all done talked about. And she knows because Lisa then came back and told her. So you talking about loyalty, ride or die, you want that Jen type of relationship, you not gonna get it. Because you don't even show it. And the reason that I think that Heather shows that loyalty to Jen is because Jen has a lot of characteristics. Hope I'm saying the word right. Characteristics that I want to say her father had. And I think she gets what's the word? Jen friendship it gives her happiness and like peace, if that make any sense. Because I'm thinking she gives all the same personality traits that I think that Heather dad has. So that's why she always forgives Jen and all Jen bullshit. But when it comes to you as her cousin, it's like she confused with what's going on because you end up. So Whitney ended up coming back to the table. Whitney ended up. So Heather White, everybody be quiet, be quiet. Give her the flow so I can listen to her. And she like, don't do that. That's being passive aggressive and all this. Heather White, what? What? I'm listening to her. And I said, it was Jen for me. Jen over there, like, look at this. Talking to Angie K, like, girl, look at this. She's like, look at that shit over there. And Angie K, like, girl, what shit? Where? She's like, huh? She's like, Whitney Rose. She's like, I'm saying Whitney. She's like, Whitney, girl. Look at her. There's some shit over there. I like, bitch. I don't know what's wrong with Jen clocking Whitney for everything tonight. She said that bitch. There's some shit over there. Look at that shit. It's a mess going on over there. And Angie K is a mess with like girl eating her for girl. What you talking about over there? I went, them bitches stupid. So they continue. Whitney end up saying like, you not there for me. You don't treat me too well. You don't listen to me. My issue with you is when you said that our friendship was bullshit. That hurts my feelings. And Heather looking at her like, bitch, please. Bullshit. And then she said some other stuff. She said bullshit, something else, and said, that's how you make me feel. Heather White, when I ever say that? Heather White, when did I say bullshit this and other stuff? And she went, you did say that. You had said, Heather, when I had said nothing, Heather said, I have ride and die for you. Heather said, I continue to ride and die for you. I got your shit in my store, in my stores. I'm selling your shit. So I'm not supporting you. I'm not there for you. I'm not anything. She ain't in. If anything happened, I'm always there for you. Any drama that comes this way. So what are you talking about? Saying that I'm not doing this and that for you. And she went, Whitney, I gotta set up boundaries and stuff for you. That's why I said we're on a break. All right, bitch, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Like, you making up, it's like Whitney made up shit as she go. And it's like none of it was making any sense. So they ended up ending the night. Heather over the whole, okay, well, there was something I forgot. Whitney also went into, ain't everybody here need to be accountable for the things that they do and stuff. And that's when Meredith said, you ain't been accountable for what you did to me. You done told lies on me. And Whitney went, Whitney said, I was accountable for what you, no, you have not. You still ain't been accountable for what you have done. Saying that I had said stuff about Lisa when I did not say anything about Lisa. It was you that was talking all that shit. And she was, because they showed the replay of the girl sitting there talking for almost 45 to 60 minutes about the shit she know about Lisa. So it's like, girl, get out of here. And so she went, in her confession, somebody get Meredith some bread to soak up that liquor. I'm like, bitch, you the one who needs some fucking bread, bitch. Because Meredith ain't that drunk. Meredith ain't drunk. Meredith's pissed. Because you come with this accountability shit and, be taking responsibility for your action. Bitch, you don't take responsibility for a motherfucking thing. But so they went into that. Then the ladies ended up ending dinner and stuff. They ended up going to a gay club, having fun and stuff. And then they ended up going back to the house. When they got back to the house, majority of the women went to bed except Meredith, Jen, Heather, and Angie K. Angie K, like, they all stayed up until almost 4 in the morning, almost 5 o'clock. They finally went to bed around, I said, yeah, around 3 something. It showed the ladies all finally going to bed. But at 4:50 in the morning, somebody came knocking and trying to open Heather's, where Heather stand at, the room Heather stand in. They tried to open it. Heather went to open it, and and that's when it went off. So that's all that happened. Like, subscribe, comment, share on all social medias. It's your boy Paul Brantley. Thank y'all for tuning in. This episode was actually a good one. It's a lot of lying going on, a lot of backstabbing as usual, but it was a good episode. I can't wait to the next one, because that's when I really want to know who hit Heather. Who did Heather get into it with? Is she gonna tell us, or we're gonna have to wait till the reunion? But like, subscribe, and comment, and share on all social media. It's your boy Paul Brantley. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll get back at y'all later.